Good morning, welcome to Catex TV. Today is Friday, December 12th, 2014. Tomorrow will be 12, 13, 14. The only time that will ever happen, obviously. If you want to follow us on Twitter, go to Catex TV. Lloyds has finally confirmed that acting Director of Finance, John Parry, is going to remain the Director of Finance. Mr. Parry is going to replace Luke Savage, who left a couple of months ago. CEO of Lloyds, Inga Beale, said that Parry had made a, quote, massive impact at Lloyds since he took over the position during the summer. Luke Savage has moved on to Standard Life. He said the Director of Operations there. London has been warned of a possible travel disruption scenario as the effects of the so-called Atlantic weather bomb are now sweeping into southern England. Last night, the meteorological office said that there's a possibility that many travel routes and power supplies could be interrupted in southern England. The public should be aware of the risk of damage to trees, disruption to travel, and possibly to power supplies, as well as a lot of surface water on the roads. There are currently no weather-related days on Transport for London services. The Met Office stressed that the UK is still only currently being indirectly affected by the main force of the so-called weather bomb, the epicenter of which is still remaining to the west of the British Isles. A dangerous storm that hit the Northern California, San Francisco area yesterday with super heavy rain and very, very high winds is now moving into the southern part of the state, down to the Los Angeles area, where the 10-year drought has had its most dramatic effects. So the flooding that's expected in that area, as well as mudslides, are particularly pronounced. Fears have now prompted precautionary evacuations in a number of areas that began last night at about 10 p.m. San Francisco suffered no lasting damage, although the area was completely inundated by rain. The very high winds were causing motorists to grip for their lives to the steering wheels, for example, as they crossed over the Golden Gate Bridge. The bridge, of course, was not closed because it's designed to swing with crosswinds. The concern that the Transportation Department had was more with the vehicles. A crew member and two contractors died yesterday when a fire broke out aboard a luxury cruise ship that was docked in the eastern Caribbean island of St. Lucia. The 656 passengers aboard the ship, which is named the Oceania Insignia, were evacuated safely, and the remainder of the cruise was canceled. The cruise was scheduled to go it actually had departed from San Juan, Puerto Rico on Sunday for a 10-day cruise and was scheduled to arrive in Miami on December 17th. The ship was built in 1998. There was an oil spill in the Bangladesh area the other day. It was not a particularly large spill, 77,000 gallons, but it spilled into the world's largest mangrove forest in the Sundarbans. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The spill is in such a sensitive area that they cannot use normal anti-spill chemicals in order to dissipate the oil. So what's happening is Bangladeshi villagers armed with pots, pans, and sponges and rags are in the mangrove swamps trying to remove the oil by hand. The UN yesterday called for a complete ban on all commercial vessels using the waterways of the Sundarbans. We reported earlier in the week about a executive of Korean Air, the South Korean airline, who had a bit of a rage meltdown in her first-class cabin on a jet at John F. Kennedy International Airport before takeoff because her favorite macadamia nuts were not being served to her, and ordered the plane back to the gate, and also ordered the offending flight attendant off the plane. As it turns out, the woman was in fact the daughter of the chairman of Korean Air, Mr. Cho-Yang-ho, who said today in a press conference in Seoul, "Please blame me, it's my fault. I failed to raise her properly." He then executed a deep bow to the assembled cameras. Then it was Mrs. Cho's turn, a 40-year-old woman who's a very high executive in the company, who then also apologized profusely and also executed a deep bow Local media, relying on reports from people on the plane, said that Mrs. Cho, quote, raised hell during the episode, screaming at crew members. It's a very interesting situation because it once again points out the South Korean tendency, at least, for family members to occupy high positions in a company operated by, in this case, her father. She's been stripped of all of her executive posts. That's the news for today. Have a pleasant weekend. If we have any breaking news, we'll come back and tell you. Thank you for watching.